Hello everyone. My heart sinks a little bit every time I'm delivered a vacuum cleaner packaged like this. I did say to the seller you can take the handle off, and I think on this model the handle will also split into two pieces, and he could have fitted it into a much smaller box. I also asked the seller to delay sending it because I wasn't going to be at home. Those requests fell on deaf ears because this arrived when I wasn't here and in this condition, and it's been in my living room for several weeks now, so I've got to get it open, if only to see if it's broken and to sort of dismantle it a bit and put it in a smaller box and put it away until the warmer months next year when I can actually look at it. Depending when you see this, I'm recording this in December and we've got snow on the ground. So yeah, I'm going to undo this now. It's a bit of a strange machine, this. I've had a similar one back in the day which I sold. The more familiar version of this is in a blue colour, blue and grey. This one's different. So if any of you, when I reveal what it is, in the comments section, if you've any more information about this, why it's not the colour, I don't know if it's a reconditioned version, but it's certainly not the colour that's normal for this particular model. I'm not really sure what the model is, I can't remember. I do have a full toolkit, unused toolkit that fits this, but unfortunately it's in the blue colour to match the blue and grey machine. Crikey, yes, it's very poorly packaged. I can already see the machine. Yeah, it's got a metal base, so it should hopefully have survived. I'm going to pause the camera now, remove the rest of this cardboard, and we'll have a closer look at this vintage Hoover upright. Well, here it is, and I don't have high hopes for this machine because when I was pulling it out of the cardboard, the hood was loose, and I can see it's got a crack in it. The handle is a bit wobbly. I don't know if I really want to turn this on. So here it is. A Hoover, whatever it is. You'll know what it is because by the time I've uploaded this video I'll have looked at the model number and I'll put it obviously in the description. But yeah, looks quite clean, but it's definitely got, I would say that's a replacement flex. Yeah, the plug needs wiring properly, and there's no, oh, it's earthed as well. There's no way I'm going to plug that in without wiring that plug up. Yeah, I think that's not good. Not good at all. We might be able to have a look at the motor in a minute because, or in a few seconds, I have a feeling that hood is loose. Yes. Yes, it is loose. Amazingly though, the lamp for the headlamp is intact. I have no idea. This, it isn't, well, is it cracked? Yes, it is slightly cracked. That could be repaired from the back side of it. We've got a hole here. Which doesn't really correspond with anything because, well, the on-off switch is there. Why the hole here? Answers on a postcard, please. So yes, obviously, that shouldn't have come off. It's not meant to be lifted off easily to change the headlight bulb. You could be vacuuming with this, the top falls off, exposing you to the motor. This is an absolute shambles of a machine, and I don't even know if I want to turn it on. It's got a huge suppressor on it that looks absolutely, I don't want to touch it, full of cobwebs. Suppressor, it's got a black and a red wire coming from it. It might just be a simple case of just snipping that off, but I'll have to have a closer look at it. Yeah, not very good, this one. It is a metal base, very used. Obviously it is an old vacuum cleaner. What the heck's all this about? That doesn't look... I don't know if that looks correct. That bit of wire with the tape on. Got the handle release here. Used to be red, but that's had many presses, and this is an absolute wreck of a vacuum by the looks of it. Now, I have been looking for the blue and grey version of this for a while to add back to my collection. I said I used to have one, and these don't turn up very often, and I saw this. I don't know, I think I might have paid 60 quid for it. I'm not sure if it was a buy it now or auction, can't remember. I mean, this could have been, the handle bail could have been damaged in shipping, I suppose. And this, I mean, I couldn't see any screws. I'm going to check the packaging. The screws that hold the hood, I don't think they're there. So if they're not in the box, then it never had them. But it should definitely be screwed down. I wonder if someone attempted to put a new headlamp in it and lost the screws. Yes, the screws are missing. Oh, this is... I go from the time I'm making this video, I recently unboxed an absolutely almost mint, very rare Hoover Conquest cylinder model that since making that video, since recovering from that little bout of a flu or cold, I polished it up, and it does look like it's just out the factory. So you can't win them all, can you? I mean, we've got sprung-loaded back wheels, but they're not... I don't know if this had an automatic height control. Ah, no, hang on. What does that do? Does that do anything? I don't... This is an odd beast. It's model 63... Is that 8? 638. There's no other... This says up model 638. I mean, I think these wheels are Bakelite. But should this have any sort of adjustment? I'm not sure. And where does the... Oh, the tools go in here, look. The tool converter slides in at the side. And I think, yes, you had to push it down at the back, I think. And then slide... I think that's all that does. I don't know if it's a height control. I think with this, you had to push the machine when it's turned round. You had to push the machine down at the back, so those wheels pressed in, and then you could slide in the tool converter. And then what that would do, it would raise up the nozzle at the front, so the brushes weren't brushing the carpet when you're using the hose. So I think that's what that is. So we've got the base plate. There's a belt guard there, and the base plate is removed without tools. If it will remove. Is it that way or that way? Oh, there we go. That's it. There's a sprung-loaded catch, and there's the base plate. Metal fan. I mean, this, if you look at my other videos, certainly look at the Rangers and the Hoover Senior models I've shown you, including some of the American ones, they basically haven't changed a lot. The fans have turned from metal to plastic, but the configuration remained unchanged for many years. That's a very slack belt, clearly needs a new belt. The brushes aren't too bad. Well, without switching it on, that sounds not too bad either. And even with a bit of a clean and an oil, a bit of lubrication, the brush roll seems quite smooth running. And the brushes are pretty serviceable. I think they're fine. Just needs a new belt in it, because that belt will easily slip back over the pulley, he says. There we go. It shouldn't be that easy. You should have to really quite pull it. Obviously it's years old and it's slackened off. But yes, all we have here just is model 638. Oh, JP, not UP. It's JP, it says JP. But it's not a colour I recognise. I mean, Hoover back in the day, they didn't do loads of different colours. You know, I think this is a 50s cleaner. And colours weren't really a thing. And certainly, I think more or less, they started introducing more colours, I think, in the later 50s. Certainly into the 60s, we got more colours. But they were quite what's the word? Utilitarian, not utilitarian, well, you know what I mean. They were basically quite boring colours. They were just an appliance for pushing around the house. They didn't think it needed to be aesthetically pleasing, which this cleaner really isn't. It's a well-designed machine. I'm sure it'll do the job, but you could call it handsome, I suppose. But yes, there is an awful lot wrong with this vacuum cleaner by the looks of it. Now, I don't know if the bag could be genuine for this. I mean, I have a feeling, personally, this could be... I've got two theories. It's either a reconditioned model, or perhaps it's a commercial version of the domestic cleaner. I wonder when Hoover introduced commercial vacuum cleaners for shops and offices and the QE2. Because I think the Hoover Indestructible upright, the all metal one that's built like a tank, I'm sure that was used to clean the QE2's carpets. But I would say that this is a replacement cable. I mean, it is an old cable, but it's still a replacement. Not as old as the cleaner, because it does have blue for neutral and brown for live and the green and yellow for earth. I think this era of cleaner, it would have been black for neutral, red for live, and I think just a dark green for earth. So yes, it's obviously a replacement cable. There's no bag inside here, and it does have a bag support tube, so it is, or is it, yes, it should be a paper bagged machine. We'll take the standard Hoover H1 bags. Crikey, look, it's a metal tube. Oh, we do have the retaining ring, but unlike the later models, ooh, that's a bit poor. It's not a rubber band. That is a metal, quite rusty metal spring. The bag is reasonable. It's not perfect. Just seen the original colour. So I'm thinking this has been refurbished either professionally or, you know, by Hoover, or done in an electrical shop, you know, because they would have done that. It wasn't uncommon, even when I was a child, to see refurbished Hoover Juniors and Seniors mainly in certain smaller electrical stores. They would be selling them, I don't know, maybe £10 cheaper than a new one, £10–15, I'm not sure, but in the day you could have traded in your old cleaner, and sometimes they specified it had to be a certain model they would take in, and Hoover Juniors and Seniors were the most common to be available as refurbished machines, and I do believe that Hoover used to refurbish them themselves in some instances. That's going to need a bit of lubrication on it, that bag there, that zip. But I've just noticed at the top of the bag, I won't pull it down anymore until I've got some dry lubrication spray that I've used in the past. The spring is a little bit rusty and stretched a bit too far. The bag will come off. It's a big hole there as well. Ooh. Could be worse, this. I mean, it could be worse, couldn't it? But it's pretty gross. And we've got in here as well, a load of muck. Ooh. don't really want to touch it. I'm not too squeamish about touching dirt. I've done it all my life, but yeah, there's something about this one. Not really keen on. Oh yes, but what I was going to show you with the bag off, there's a little bit of a metal top there, and here we can see clues to the heritage of this vacuum, because that is the blue that this would have originally been. That would have been blue. The bag would have been different as well. It wouldn't have been this. I think it looks a bit, I mean, it is grey or taupey colour. That might wash quite well, hand wash that. It is grubby, as you can see, but it's not bad for a cloth bag of this age. So yes, this would have definitely had, and the handles used to perish on this model. They were a rubber handle, and this is definitely a replacement, but you would see replacement handles like this on the blue. Oh, that's not going, hang on, I need to push that down. No, it's not going to go down further. So there's the handle. So that's a replacement. It's genuine. That's very well, that's smooth. That's very well worn, very well used. How many times has somebody gripped that and pushed it on their carpet? So this is this would have been replaced. On my original one, the blue and grey one I had, it had a white replacement, because this would have been rubber and those perished, cracked and perished, and people would have a new handle put on them. Otherwise you've just got bare metal here. It's not very nice to hold on to. So yes, all right, what I'm going to do to finish the video, because this is a project for sure, and it's a project for the warmer months. Might not be even a project for next year, might be the year after that, but I'm just going to take it apart, put it in a smaller box, wrap it up well, store it well, and put it on hold until I can have a look. But I just need to see what I'm dealing with motor wise. But oh yes, it is. It's not good, is it, folks? It's not good at all. So I'm going to rewire this plug, which is an older plug, because it says made in England on it, but as you can see, it's not been wired up properly. So before I plug this in, I'm going to just rewire this plug for my own safety. It's a good job I opened up this plug before inserting it into the socket, because you can see that the neutral wire has come away from the neutral terminal, as has the live. The earth wire is still connected, but you see they've made the same mistake. I've shown this many times. The outer insulation of the cable should be underneath the cable grip here, the clamp. And this has just been, and this is very common when people had to fit their own plugs to appliances, as we had to. I think it was 92 or 94. It was sometime in the 90s when they passed the law saying all portable electrical appliances sold in the UK had to have a fitted plug. It's amazing how long we went where it was normal for people to buy a plug, have to buy a plug with the appliance and fit it themselves. Or often they would just cut the plug off the appliance they were replacing and just shove that on. But when I worked at Curry's in the 80s, you used to say to them, do you want a plug with that? And then they had to fork out about £1 or something, 95 pence, whatever a plug costs back then. I think they're about £3 or £4 now for a plug. Anyway, so there you go. I need to wire that up properly, put the top back on, and then I'm not looking forward to this, but I'm going to plug it in and see if this old Hoover upright fires up, and hopefully it won't catch fire. Hopefully the motor will just turn on and it'll sound smooth, but we can but hope. Okie dokie. Well, I'm pretty apprehensive about this one. I've refitted the plug, so I know that's fine, but right, it is plugged in but not switched on at the wall socket. It might still not turn on because I don't know if it's switched on at the cleaner. So fingers crossed, folks. Let's see what's going to happen. Nothing. Right, got to switch it on. Okie dokie, here goes. Let's go for it, folks. Go on. Sounds alright to me. I'm not going to push it. Oh heck. No, I'm not going to push it along the carpet. I'm a bit worried about lifting it up with it plugged in case the handle comes off the machine. Pulling out the cable. We'll just turn it on once more and then that'll be it for this this cleaner. It's the last time you'll see this cleaner for a while, I feel. Right, so we'll just give it one more go. Let's hope the suppressor doesn't decide to blow. Does sound very good, I have to say, and quieter than I was expecting. You can really feel the springiness in the wheels. There is on YouTube a video showing the blue and grey version of this. It's called Domestic Bliss. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So if you type in Domestic Bliss, you might find it. You might have to put Hoover as well. And it's a very old sort of advertising feature showing lots of Hoover products, and a famous lady from back in the day called Katie Boyle. She is the lady in the video with her husband and various neighbours, and she hurts her wrist and has to have it in a sling, so she's got all the housework to do and she doesn't have a vacuum, so the various neighbours bring round their Hoover products, including the blue and grey version of this. Another lady washes her clothes in a Hoover-matic. Another neighbour brings round a Hoover polisher to polish her lino, and then the other neighbour brings her Hoover steam and dry iron to iron the clothes washed in the Hoover-matic. So that's a lovely half hour or so film to watch. If you haven't seen it, check that out on YouTube. It's got it's not very good quality, and it's got a sort of watermark through the middle of it, but it's still watchable, and I've watched it many times. But yes, she shows you inserting the hose on that, so she shows pushing down the back, pushing down the handle like that. So you have to push down, it needs quite a lot of effort. Push down the handle, then you can slot in the converter. So I'm still not quite happy with this. I'm going to unplug and dismantle the machine. The handle will easily come away from the cleaner. Just unscrew it, and then I can take the bag off, split the handle into two, wrap it up, and then put it into one of my plastic boxes. For now, it's a project. Don't think you're going to see this very soon. It's going to be pushed way back to the back of my list of projects to do, I can assure you. But we've had a first look. It could be the first and last look. But anyway, in the meantime, if you've got any comments about this machine, if you think like I do that it's probably reconditioned, it's had a respray, it's certainly, yes, I think I can see some of the original colour as well under this sort of beige. But I have a feeling this top part, that's not been resprayed, that's a replacement, because it's the same colour throughout. So it's unusual. But my guess is it's a reconditioned machine, not a commercial version. I think this is a reconditioned Hoover. So that's it. Very old vacuum cleaner. Not one of my oldest, but it is pretty old, and not necessarily my favourite era. I tend to like cleaners from the 70s onwards are my favourites. 70s and 80s especially. I do like the Hoover machines from that period. But it's still a nice machine to have in the collection. Needs a lot of work, but you're in the best place, I think, for that. But yeah, you'll be stored away somewhere much nicer than I'm sure it's been stored. And one day, in my retirement perhaps, I'll get this out again and see what I can do with it. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Bye for now.